Hello, I'm Sudarshana Starshine Star. Thank you for being here with me. Well, it's a beautiful and quite eventful Monday. It's June 23rd, 2025. I have a YouTube channel, which you're most likely listening to this on, but if not, it's called It's the Dazzling of the Light at Sudarshana Starshine Star. Why don't you check it out? I have about something well over 200 clips there on a variety of topics, and I don't do boring and mundane, so I think you might enjoy it. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. That really helps me. Thank you so much. I begin all of my clips with the 3 opening prayers in Sanskrit and Telugu, and they are short. This is to bless, uplift, purify, and protect you, me, and this clip. And as I'm beginning to mention in all of my clips now, this is not about religion. This is ancient Vedic knowledge from India. These bijaksharas, or bijas as they are called, seed sounds, are the ones that are used to create all the universes, all of creation by Mother Divine. Because as I've said before, Mother Divine is the creator and Father Divine is the divine consciousness. And wherever you find Mother Divine, you find Father Divine. Wherever you find Father Divine, you find Mother Divine. So let's go. Om, 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam, Tasmahi Sri Guruve Namaha. Om Suklam Bharataram Vishnum Sishivarnam Chatobhujam Prasanavaranam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye. Om Bhurbuva Suvaha Tatsavitur Varinyam Bhago Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachotayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All right, excellent. This was posted at 11, I think it's 11:10. It was cut off. It could be 11:11. This morning, June 23rd, 2025, on True Social, Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump. And he says, the sites that we hit in Iran were totally destroyed and everyone knows it. Only the fake news would say anything different in order to try and demean as much as possible. And even they say they were, quote, pretty well destroyed, end quote. Working especially hard on this falsehood is Alison Cooper of fake news and always the losers of, again, Concast's NBC fake news. It never ends with the sleazebags in the media, and that's why their ratings are at an all-time low, 0 credibility. And that last bit was all in caps. Now, I want to go back a little bit to yesterday, where June 22nd, where President Trump posted, he wrote, it's not politically correct to use the term, quote, regime change, end quote. But if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? And then he ended it with MIGA, M-I-G-A, with exclamation points, make Iran great again. And I spoke about that in a clip yesterday, but I just want to remind people of that. Yes, this is really about, well, let me read this first and then I'm going to comment on the end. It's kind of interesting. I haven't checked back for it. It was an hour ago, but this was posted listen to these oil prices. They were dropping even as this was occurring. So it's a little bit strange. Listen to this. So now oil prices plunged despite Iranian missile strikes on U.S. forces in the Gulf. And this is from SGT News Network on Telegram. And he posted this chart, and I'm going to read it to you guys. In one column, it says at the top, all prices, then it says OPEC blends, then it says Canadian blends and U.S. blends. On the 4 categories, I'll read them one at a time. The first one is WTI crude. And under Canadian blends, it was 70.90. Now it went down 2.94%. The U.S. blends with WTI crude went down 3.98%. Brent crude in Canadian blends was at 73.94 and it went down 3.07%. U.S. blends of Brent crude went down 3.99%. Murban crude Canadian blends was at 74.51. It went down 2.88%. U.S. blends went down 3.72%. Natural gas, Canadian blends was at 3.703, and it went down 0.144%. And the U.S. blends went down 3.74%. And then it said, now, WTI crude oil falls 6% to 69.50 a barrel, lowest level in a week. So that's interesting, isn't it? Sean Hannity on Truth Social, he posted, Iran strikes back. Iran fires missiles toward U.S. base in Qatar. Report. And you can read the whole thing at hannity.com/media-room/Iran. According to multiple media reports, Iran has launched a targeted missile strike at a U.S. military base in Qatar. From Insider Paper, posted at 10:28 a.m. today, full statement from Qatar on Iran missile attack. The state of Qatar strongly condemns the attack that targeted Al Udeid Air Base, and that's Al-Udeid, forgive my pronunciation, Air Base, by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. We consider this a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar, its airspace, international law, and the United Nations Charter. We affirm that Qatar reserves the right to respond directly in a manner equivalent with the nature and scale of this brazen aggression in line with international law. We reassure that Qatar's air defenses successfully thwarted the attack and intercepted the Iranian missiles. A detailed statement regarding the circumstances of the attack will be issued later by the Ministry of Defense. We also emphasize that the continuation of such escalatory military actions will undermine security and stability in the region, dragging it into situations that could have catastrophic consequences for international peace and security. We call for the immediate cessation of all military actions and for a serious return to the negotiating table and dialogue. Furthermore, the state of Qatar was one of the first countries to warn against the dangers of Israeli escalation in the region. We have consistently called for diplomatic solutions to be prioritized and have stressed the importance of good neighborliness and avoiding escalation. We reaffirm that dialogue is the only way to overcome the current crises and ensure the security of the region and the peace of its people. The base had been evacuated earlier, following established security and precautionary measures given the tensions in the region. All necessary steps were taken to ensure the safety of personnel at the base, including Qatari Armed Forces members, friendly forces, and others. We confirm that no injuries or human casualties resulted from the attack. And then from the Revival of America on Telegram, the title of this post was Breaking Qatar News. Qatar closes its airspace. State of Qatar, Doha, June 23, 2025. As part of the state of Qatar's commitment to the safety of its citizens, residents, and visitors, the competent authorities announced the temporary suspension of air traffic in the country's airspace. This is a part of a set of precautionary measures taken based on developments in the region. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirms that official authorities are closely and continuously monitoring the situation, assessing developments in coordination with regional and international partners, and will provide the public with updated information in a timely manner through official channels. The ministry reiterates its emphasis that the safety and security of all individuals within the state of Qatar remains a top priority, and that the state will not hesitate to take the necessary preventative measures in this regard. The Wall Street Journal posted today the title, Iran fires on U.S. base in Qatar as Gulf neighbors close airspace. Iran launched missiles at a U.S. base in Qatar and at Iraq, where the U.S. keeps military facilities, officials said. The UAE and Bahrain closed their airspaces. Qatar said it intercepted a rocket and there were no casualties. Israel continued to strike targets in Iran but is looking to end its war soon, officials said, as the UN's Atomic Agency chief said. U.S. attacks on Iran's Fordow enrichment site likely caused, quote, very significant damage, end quote. Israel followed up with strikes to entry points to Fordow. Israel's attack on symbols of the Iranian regime, including a prison where political prisoners are held, was a signal to Iranians that the regime is frail, said an Israeli lawmaker. The Iranian regime's clerical leaders now risk widening a war with two militarily superior foes, the U.S. and Israel. The alternative was to return to NUCLEAR talks, where they would likely have to make concessions on NUCLEAR enrichment and their ballistic missile arsenal, two pillars of the country's sovereignty. Earlier, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, in what appears to be his first comment since the U.S. attack, didn't mention the U.S. and instead focused on Israel in a post on X. Quote, Israel made a grave mistake and it is being punished right now, the post said. Leaders in Europe urged Iran not to respond in a way that would, quote, destabilize the region, end quote, while President Trump gave no ground on his demand for Iran to agree on the U.S.'s terms for a peace deal. Trump on Sunday didn't rule out backing change in Iran's leadership. Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Iran's foreign minister in Moscow, saying the strikes by the U.S. over the weekend weren't justified and that Russia was taking steps to help the Iranian people. Iranian military officials said Sunday's strikes against the country's NUCLEAR facilities had violated Iranian sovereignty, making the U.S. a party to the war and its assets legitimate targets. Half a dozen ships have diverted course in the way to the Strait of Hormuz, the crucial waterway connecting the Persian Gulf to global markets, since Sunday. The U.S. warned about the threat of retaliatory actions due to the U.S. military strikes against Iran, including hate crimes and cyber attacks. And then updated at 1:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Qatar says rockets launched at U.S. base intercepted without casualties. Qatar's defense ministry said a rocket attack on Al Udeid, as I spelled before, UDEID air base, where the U.S. has a large military presence, was intercepted without any casualties. U.S. military forces shot down Iranian missiles for the base. A U.S. official said Qatar's foreign ministry condemned the attacks targeting the base, which it said was perpetrated by Iranian's Revolutionary Guard. Quote, Qatar reserves the right to respond directly in a manner equivalent with the nature and scale of this brazen aggression, end quote, a spokesman wrote on X. Then at 1:26 p.m. Eastern Time today, Bahrain, which hosts U.S. naval base, sounds air raid siren. The Gulf nation of Bahrain, where a naval base hosts the U.S. Navy's Middle East headquarters, sounded air sirens and urged residents to remain calm and head to safety, the Interior Ministry said. Bahraini authorities said they were temporarily closing their airspace as a precaution. Then at 1:22 Eastern Time today, it says by Benjamin Katz, UAE shuts its airspace, flight tracker says. The United Arab Emirates has closed its airspace amid ongoing attacks in the Middle East, Flight Radar 24 said. Citing flight path diversions and air traffic control audits. The closure comes shortly after Qatar shut its airspace ahead of an attack by Iran on a U.S. base in that country. Videos filmed in Qatar showed flashes and explosions about an hour after the country announced it had closed its airspace ahead of an anticipated Iranian strike. A U.S. and an Israeli official said Iran had fired missiles toward Qatar and Iraq. Residents of the Pearl, a man-made island in Qatar's capital of Doha, recorded streaks of light, videos of light streaking across Qatar's evening sky, including one that collided with another, coming from the opposite direction in a bright burst. That's the end of those readings, but I wanted to say about an hour ago, Il Donato Trumpo on X, and if you don't know, it's time to know that Il Donato Trumpo is President Trump's account unofficially, where he says a lot of stuff. It's like It's been proven it really is him talking, and he's much more bold on the Il Donato Trumpo account on X. And he says the truth, and he says things to the point. And what he posted an hour ago there was the title, what he posted was "Run, little man, run and hide, little man, run and hide." And that was on top of a video that he posted that showed a huge eagle that was flying over snowy mountains that were all empty. And there was a song in the background that was playing, saying "America, F yeah," in a very bold way. So, what I just want to say about this, and I'm sure most of you know that are listening, but I just want to underscore this. We had I'm speaking of my country in America, we were invaded from within. We had the Manchurian candidate who was called Barack Obama, but whose real name was Barry Hussein, was a Manchurian candidate and was completely satanic, was very high up in the satanic levels. His bloodlines I might discuss in some other videos, although it's pretty tricky to put that on social media because it involves bloodline that most people acknowledge. They get very activated by this certain individual from Germany. Anyway, and I'll give just a clue here. Yes, Angela Merkel was his aunt, if that gives you a clue or not. But neither of those beings are walking on the earth realm at all. And I'm just saying that definitively. Crimes against humanity, and for Barry Hussein, treason on a grand scale, because he, before he left office, he gave a huge fortune, as I'm sure most of you are aware, huge fortune in cash, pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of so much money to Iran. And before that, they didn't have the money to do their enrichment program. But so this trader, and of course, Barry Hussein was not the boss. He was part of a huge dark force satanic hierarchical structure that really has been trying to flip this whole earth realm into the new world order, with Satanism being the only religion, and with the social credit system, and worse, that like the one that we see that's going on in China, just smashed all over the remaining residents of planet Earth realm, which would have been taken from 7.8 billion down to 500 million. And you can see that if you don't know what the Georgia Guidestones were, you can look that up yourself not using Wikipedia or Google, because that's ridiculous. Use an independent browser like the Brave Bing browser. That's a good start. And you can find out about that if you would like to. There are proofs of all of this. I encourage you to check out everything I'm saying. Don't believe me blindly. I've done massive independent research myself. So America is just in the process of like standing up and shaking off like these fleas, these parasites, and these ticks, and recovering itself. That's just the truth of it. The dark forces will not be allowed any longer to continue with their dastardly and deadly goals. It's not going to be allowed. So, but there's nothing to worry about. I really want to say that here. Just truthfully, it's just astonishing to me that people are, if they are now, like getting afraid now after everything that we've been through for the last several years, and we survived that plan, second part of that word, DEMIC, and all of that dastardly deadliness of that, and on top of everything else. And now it's like, oh, now we're like getting afraid, thinking everything's going to end. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. We are in the cleanup time. Just have faith and know that. Of course, we have to have common steps here. And of course, ultimately, God is in charge of everything. And there's no guarantee with Mother, Father, God. Mother, Father, God can do what Mother, Father, God chooses to do. Mother, Father, God can end a creation, do whatever Mother, Father, God chooses to do. And that's the truth. We're not in charge of that. But really, that is not going to happen. It has been prophesied by the ancients of many ancient cultures, and given that the apocalypse, like from the Greek, means the unveiling, the great unveiling. These are the great truth times where the veils are lifted and we can see what has really been going on, and we can recover our sovereignty and our true knowledge. And of course, that's not a guarantee for anyone. You have to do the hard blood, sweat, and tears work to do that. I'm just trying to be an assist here and pointing the way for those of you that are wanting to see. And if not, that's your choice. It has nothing to do with me. God bless you. But really, just there's nothing to be afraid of. Just know that. And of course, prayers are powerful. And we do want to pray for, President Trump said it, and he really meant it. MAGA, make Iran great again. This is nothing about we, the people of Iran, that have been suffering so much under this dark force regime. Anyway, let's keep current with what's going on, but awaken with our day with a steady faith, a steadfast heart, a clear head, a sharp mind. Powerful prayers are wonderful to begin the day with and end your evening with before you go to sleep. And we're in the great scouring, guys. We're in the great cleanup times. It's not easy. It has never been easy. It's the equivalent of the earth realm being in great labor pains giving birth. And have you ever seen a mother giving birth? It is the most worthy process there is, but a lot of blood is involved, a lot of pain. It is not just generally, once in a while it can be like an easy peasy experience or process, but the result is so beyond worthy. And that's what's going on here. The new earth is being born. The new higher consciousness is flooding this earth realm, and these higher frequency vibration, these higher, like Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the world, look to frequency, energy, and vibration. And this high vibration, it doesn't tolerate these low, heavy, dark force, satanic, devil ways. It cannot. It literally is, in terms of physics, it's not possible. You cannot have that. It cannot survive. It will devolve. And that's what I'm really doing these clips and so much about is I want to help shake and wake people because I really don't want any souls to devolve. And that is also unfortunately happening. The souls, the beings that are just addicted to darkness, to heaviness, to chaos, to, ultimately just to endless bouts of suffering and all of that sticky and heaviness. Unfortunately, in these times, there will be a split. There will be splits. And I'm sure many of you have experienced that within your very own families, friends, colleagues, neighbors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You've seen that. There are some that are just refusing to literally lighten up or to ascend, and they're just devolving. They're just descending, going down, down, down. And God bless them. I don't want that to happen. So I will continue to pray for that. I really don't want that for anyone. I want everyone to have a chance at redemption. A chance at redemption. That doesn't mean the slate will automatically be wiped clean, but then the U-turn process can begin. So I end my clips with the closing prayer in Sanskrit and Telugu, and what I'm saying is God bless all beings in all worlds. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes, peace, peace, peace. We are looking forward to that, the great peace on the great new earth realm, the great glorious peace going into 1,000 years of peace and prosperity. We are preparing for it now. God bless you and yours. I'm sending much love and big hugs to you and yours. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell or anything you choose to do, leave some comments. I would love to hear your comments. Thank you so much. I will see you when I see you, and bye-bye for now.